We're back again, and we're wearing the same clothes because this is literally 5 minutes after we just ended the episode prior, and we were having a little chat. And I was like, I got really triggered when you said what's new, and a little frustrated. And I'm not sure why, but I'm going to give that some introspective thought today.
I wonder if you're frustrated with yourself because you're not thinking of an answer right away.
Maybe.
Or I mean, you could be frustrated with me, but I'd like to not claim that.
No, you know what? What's coming up right now is it's a control thing. It's oh shit, she's putting me on the spot. I'm not in control of this conversation. That's
Oh.
that's what it is. And I know that you do it at the end with the rapid fire questions or the would you rather, but I'm expecting that. I think it's the out of the blue. So that's interesting. And
Well, the rapid fire questions too, although they're personal, they're not really personal. When I'm asking you
right.
what's new, that's a personal thing. Like I want you to
Yeah, yeah.
basically saying, "Oh, share with the
Yep.
world whatever
Right.
you want to share."
Yeah.
But
So then I got thinking, what's new? It's like, how has this week been? Because it's been a bit since we've talked, and something happened this week that was new and just touched me on a really, really deep level. I got an Amazon review from a total stranger that it just resonated and hit me on a level that I will tell you after I unpack it. So I'm going to
as you
how
look
do
for it,
I
I got the thought, oh, you better be ready for more of that. Like, how exciting will that be when you're more people are hearing about your book and telling stories and wanting to connect with you or wanting to write reviews? How lovely will that be?
right?
And
Okay.
for all those watching, this is how we can order Navigating Shitstorms on Amazon.ca for
Okay.
$23.99.
This review, and I'm just going to read it here for the people that are not watching. E. Blake, 5 stars, and the heading is, "This book changed my life." I have no idea how Navigating Shitstorms has only 6 reviews so far. This book, as tragic as Liz's personal story is within, has helped me heal in ways no other self-help guru has managed to in the decade I've spent trying to find ways to love myself. Liz isn't a psychologist. She isn't a life coach or anthropologist or guru or anything like that. She's just like you and me, a regular everyday person taking life each day at a time, strapped with an emotional backpack of pain, anger, control issues, and everything else accumulated over the years we now struggle to leave behind, as much as we would love to. In the book, Liz commands a relatable and easy to visualize approach to breaking free from a victimhood mentality by translating the very concept into the analogy of a victim town that is home to a number of tourist traps, the Control Factory, the Guilt and Shame Cafe, the Denial Trails, etc. Exploring Victim Town and all it has to offer takes up most of the book, interspersed with snippets of Liz's own personal story of childhood tragedy and how it defined her in adulthood, keeping her trapped in Victim Town for many years. The latter section explores Freedomville, a utopia of self-acceptance and letting go, and how to get there, navigated by what Liz dubs the heart voice. Navigating Shitstorms is just as much our story as it is Liz's story. And when I say this book changed my life, I mean it. This isn't a sales pitch. This book is a powerful tool to be used in the realms of cognitive behavioral therapy and self-accountability. If you decide to take the plunge, I encourage you to treat this book more as a workbook than any other self-help book. Now, I'm just going to intersperse. I am working on the guidebook that will be exactly what this reader was looking for. Really taking Liz's writings to heart and implementing the different perspectives and concepts she introduces on the daily has helped me heal and shift my way of daily thinking in ways I never imagined. Liz, if you're reading this, thanks a ton for sharing your vulnerability and story with the world. Your book entered my life by happenstance. It was clearly meant to be, and I hope your work gets the recognition it deserves.
Mm.
This is why I wrote the book. My intention and my purpose is to pave the way for people to learn to love themselves. And I've helped one person, and I don't know, I can't reach this person. I don't know who he is, E. Blake, but E. Blake, your heartfelt review meant the world to me. I feel more on track and so reassured. And if I help nobody else, which I hope isn't the case, I've helped one human being
Oh my
find some
goodness.
solace and come back to their heart. And that's my huge why.
Oh my goodness. Can you take off screen share so we can keep talking closer?
Yep.
That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Number one. Number two, you helped more than one person because you're in my life now.
Thank
And
you.
hold on, I'm going to cry when I say this, but just by nature of the relationship, having a new relationship in my life with a new person, which is new energy and a new way of looking at things, is phenomenal. And one of the things she said that really struck me was that you're just a regular, well, two things. You're just a regular person, which is sort of what I'm going to be doing with my work as I kind of put my work out into the world too. I'm not somebody with
Yep.
a fancy degree. I'm not fancy this or fancy that. And sort of the world I've gone into, you can't go to university really to be educated for the spiritual woo-woo world. And so that can keep us from writing books or doing something new because we don't think we're as good as other people. That's really
Right.
important, that just regular old Liz went through this and regular old Liz wrote this book, right? Because we're just everybody. We're not
And that's
any different.
huge.
Mhm.
Yes. And it's not to belittle the certifications and the degrees and the professional things. That's tremendous and needed. And but there are all kinds of other people, regular people, that have great gifts to share.
And I would say that those that are highly educated cannot belittle those that are not and have
Correct.
life
It's
experience, right? Because everybody's
absolutely.
important and everybody has something
Yes.
that's super important to share because everything's
Yes.
magical, right?
Yes.
So
We
that,
all learn things different ways. And no matter how that is, that's not a judgment, whether it's a university degree or it's the school of hard knocks.
yeah.
Um, it's not a judgment. It's what are you doing with your gift? How are you making the world a better place? And in order to share our gifts and really do good out there, we have to heal ourselves first. And that means loving ourselves. And
Mhm.
once we learn to love ourselves, then we can share that and make the world a better place,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Um, oh crap. The other thing, she said something else that was like really
It's a
struck me.
he.
Oh,
I
he,
don't know.
sorry. Oh, I apologize.
Well, I
They.
don't know. I don't know
Let's do they,
but it
them.
looks,
We will go
it
with they,
looks
them.
like a male
Okay.
a photograph of a male. The picture's really small. E. Blake. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing that they said that I thought was interesting was that the book did something that no other guru or self-help or coach or anything that made a difference in their life. And that was very well poorly worded, but I will explain it. I have read, like, Eckhart Tolle's one of my favorite authors. I love the way Byron Katie does her work. Viktor Frankl had a really amazing book. And then you've got more modern authors, you've got Glennon Doyle and Brene Brown. Brene Brown. I feel
I
like we should
love
have
Brene
cheers
Brown.
go off when we say Brene Brown. We have all these amazing, fantastic people whose books have made an impact in my life. And unfortunately, I'm not going to use your book as an example, but when my aunt went into long-term care, it was your best friend Deb's book, which was a simple guidebook on how to acclimate to long-term care, how to manage your emotions. And it was so simple. All the other books that I had read of all the gurus and stuff, all of a sudden made sense in the way Deb had written her book. And I feel that
Yeah.
your book is extremely similar, except Deb's book was for long-term care. And your book is much more broad in the self-help category because, it doesn't have to be completely complex, but we just never know what the thing is that's going to help us have those aha moments.
Exactly. The
And that's
one
what
little takeaway from the book that is transformative or life-changing for that person. And let's just give a little plug right now, because her book, Deborah Bakti, Bakti, and we'll put the link here. Her book that is called Now What is about long-term care and the relationship between family members, the resident, and staff. And it is so incredibly insightful. I highly recommend it for anybody who is navigating having to put a family member into long-term care, or if you have somebody there already, and for all of the heartfelt service workers that are working in that industry. She has a very unique perspective in that she had multiple family members, her husband, and then both her parents in long-term care. And she had a very long and prestigious career as a high-level executive in an organization that owned a lot of long-term care facilities. So the both ends of it, which has enabled her to produce a product and concepts that are transformational for long-term care facilities and for family members, and ultimately for the residents.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
absolutely.
link in there. Yes.
For our American listeners, that would be nursing homes. I don't think they call it long-term care, but it was absolutely a transformational book for me. And it shifted everything. And it put all of the reading that I had done, the coaching that I was doing at the time, because I was heavy duty into coaching at that time. I was in my healing journey, because it was 2020, 2021 that we went into this, and completely shifted. And so that's what your book is doing for other people as well, right? Like this person that wrote the review, bless their heart, probably very well read, because that was I was noticing grammar and everything else was in there. So this is a writer, someone that understands, that's put a lot of thought into it. And so I just really appreciate that review, and also as an encouragement for everybody else out there, you don't have to wait for that perfect moment to start doing what you want to do and living your dream, because you had just come out of the place when you started using the writing as art and as therapy and as healing and as storytelling and as everything to move along. And look what you've created in this short amount of time, and look at us. We're just on Zoom. This might not be the best podcasting platform, but here we are, just starting out, and we have to start somewhere. And how would we have created all this, So it's really actually quite a powerful review. Well, let's contact us, person Blake, Mr. or Mrs. or Master Blake.
Yes, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. And I think that the other thing it demonstrates is that we all have our unique perspective that can be inspiring or helpful to someone else.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Every person has that capacity and has that experience, whether you think you have or not. You have.
So beautiful. You're just at the beginning of this leg of your journey, and to have such an encouraging review and to feel so touched and to know that what you wrote was heard by the heart is so pleasing. So pleasing. And I know there's going to be a lot more of that, where that came from. So get ready, hold on, because
thank you. And I'm open to all reviews. I'm not what I want is honest reviews, and just honest. So for example, one of my boys is very pragmatic, and of course he read the book, and he said, Mom, there's a lot of really great stuff in there. I found the first section on childhood really interesting to read, and the way that you were summarizing a lot of other people's great work and making it relatable and easy to digest was terrific. And the last part where you offer strategies for healing and loving yourself and finding Freedomville was also really great. He said, but the middle section, that whole analogy about victim town, Mom, I get that it's going to resonate and be helpful for a lot of people, but just that part just wasn't for me. My brain doesn't work that way. I kind of skimmed a lot of it. And I'm like, fair, right?
Yeah.
Everybody resonates with different things. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, the book's got so much in it because it's about that, but then that underlying story with Linda is massive, massive.
Right. And
Right?
he even was aware for the first time of a lot of things about me that even as his mom and all the years, he didn't know. I mean, it's not like we talked about that stuff on on the regular,
Yeah.
So
Well, it's interesting because our kids and I never saw my parents as like real people until I got older. And same with our
true.
kids too, right? Like, and like I say to my kids all the time, okay, I'm 50 now. I've never been 50 in this life before. I don't know what 50 is like. I don't know how to do 50 now. I'm learning how to do 50. And I don't know what parenting a 26 and then, down to 18-year-olds like, and never done that before. So learning how to do that. Everything's new all the time.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true. And the other thing that comes to mind that I would like to share with our listeners is that you just never know how a small action on your part is going to affect someone else, and then there's a ripple effect from that. So I would like to offer my heartfelt thanks to E. Blake for that review because it made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah.
Reading those words. And sometimes it's just a smile or a compliment or some small gesture that might be fairly insignificant in our mind that makes a tremendous difference to someone else.
Yeah. Well, and you're a
Right?
word lady too, right? Your words of encouragement. You've sent me a couple cards already, and there's the most beautiful cards. You actually drew on them on the outside. You had a little artwork, and then beautiful words. So I know that words are important to you as well. And everybody needs to be encouraged, and a little
Yeah,
bit. You're a single woman and you're a little bit later in life. There's still a lot of life left to live, but you're not 20 anymore. And so
true.
and your mom's not talking, you've got your dad, but you're not getting a lot of encouragement from a lot of people, right? And you're an entrepreneur, so you're solo based. This project was a long time in coming. So the fruits of your labor are you're finally seeing it, right? Like we see the book cover, we have it now, in person, and the reviews are starting to come in, and we started this channel, who knows where it's going to go. You've got your TV show coming up, like the fruits of your labor are starting to show up, and how wonderful is that? But it doesn't mean that you still don't need to be encouraged yourself, and that's important. That you know we don't
Yeah,
underestimate
thank
the
you.
value of saying something to somebody that could touch them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So
and I think too, appreciation's of like a high form of love. It's a beautiful emotion. Talking about light, we had just talked about emotions being dense or light, and appreciation's a very light, beautiful emotion that connects us to one another, right? So
yeah, and it's a great feeling to have somebody express their appreciation for you. It's one of the for me, and I think most people, like one of the most ultimate compliments. People can say, "Oh, your hair looks great today. Oh, I like your cool shoes," or like there's a whole host of more superficial things, but for someone to say, I really appreciate the way you did, or exactly what you did for me, or how you did that for me, or any form of appreciation just fills us up, right? And it's also not something that we can control or or demand, or we can appreciate ourselves a little bit, but it's not quite the same when it comes from unsolicited. It just seems to carry a greater weight.
Let's love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so let's go forth and appreciate people today
We
for
shall.
something meaningful, for an action, for a way of their being, for a personality trait, for how they show up in our lives, you know?
I love
Yeah.
that. Ah, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, Caralyn,
Well, I
and
appreciate you.
our candid, fun conversations, and for your energy and insights.
Oh, thank you so
Yes.
much. And I will say, I appreciate the way you show up in my life. I appreciate the words of encouragement, your patience,
Well,
your
we've been through some
flexibility.
technology shitstorms, haven't we? And
Yes, yeah.
we're figuring it out one techno shitstorm at a time.
Well, one thing that has come to mind and gets come up between us is, both of us are perfectionists, and I am a high achiever, and I want things to look good and sound good and everything else. And when you're learning something new, it's not like that. It's messy when you learn something new, and it
Yeah.
feels uncomfortable, and I feel slow, like it feels like it's going slow, and then I start getting in my head and thinking, well, am I going too slow? Is Liz gonna think what is she gonna think? And then that whole you spiral. And
Hmm.
so even in this process of, saying, what, Liz is gonna be okay. If something's not going well, she'll tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me. She doesn't hate
Yep.
me because she's telling me, like all these little things that happen within relationships. So I have appreciated the way that you showed up, and how you remind me of you help tweak me. It doesn't sound right, but I call it, with my other friend, I call it fine tuning. We help each other fine tune, and we refining our thought process and that kind of thing. And I noticed that you do that in such a beautiful way. You help remind me to go
Mm.
back and use the tools when I start to, when I'm just that little bit off, and you think, oh, you're just one little thought's just off. But if you start here and your thoughts off just a little bit, and you want to go, this way, but your thoughts this way, well, by the time, it's going off in a huge trajectory in somewhere where
Well,
you
a
don't want
little,
to go, right? So,
yeah, and a little course correction. That to me is the definition of a really healthy relationship, is where we both are supporting each other to become a little bit better, to learn, to check in, with love and acceptance and not judgment, right?
mm,
We both make mistakes, and we laugh and we learn, and figure it out. To have the reciprocity of growth in a safe environment, um, doesn't get any better than that, right?
any better. And
Yeah.
look who I'm surrounding myself with, authors who are changing my life. You and Deb. And then, no, not just two, a trifecta, because you've got, and we'll talk about this another time, Edie Nathan, who's a psychotherapist in the States who knows both of you and who's written a book called It's Grief. She's worked with
Yes.
Deb, and she's done videos for me for Deb's book, the Now What. We had a book club, and she's done a couple of videos where she's answering caregivers' questions. And
And
I'm
she's
like,
working on a very exciting new book that is going to help so many people around sexual trauma and grief. Hmm. Yeah.
oh, when we're done
Yeah.
these interviews, we're going to start interviewing other people. We've got to invite Deb on the show and Edie on the show at some point. I don't know
We will.
if you're into that, but I would love to
Yeah.
do that. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
new
We will for
ideas,
sure.
new ideas. We haven't even finished this part of it, but I'm already thinking, how can we incorporate this with these incredible women and these authors that are, I feel so blessed.
Well,
I
me
feel like
too.
the
And we'll,
luckiest lady in the world.
yeah, I've said that a lot myself. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So, and we'll
Yeah.
see where it goes.
Yeah,
All right. No
absolutely.
rapid fire questions today.
Yep.
This is just a little bonus unpacking of why I got triggered around what's new, and sharing that amazing
So
review.
good. Thank
That
you so
meant
much
so
for
much.
sharing that. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.